Hello everyone, this is Eagle Al. This video today is about, it's basically about the getting a full range of motion when you're weight training, and it's also about paying attention to the timing or the length of time when you're doing the power part of a lift and the negative part of a lift. I'll start by saying some people, when they're in the gym, they do not take the exercise through the full range of motion. And there's a lot of negative aspects when you're doing that. And you're not getting the most effectiveness out of the lift by doing it that way. Sorry, my throat's a little bit messed up. So on 99% of the exercises, let's say it's a chest press or whatever, you're taking it all the way as far as the muscle is capable of moving. And then on the way back, you're taking it all the way back the opposite way as far as it's capable of moving, as a generalization. I see people in the gym that will do like 60 to 70% of a range. Like they'll be doing back pull downs and they'll come like halfway down each time. And when you're doing that, you're not stressing the entire head of a muscle in an effective manner, and you're creating a weak you're creating a weak zone, and you're more likely to get injured when all of a sudden you should have to go that full range that you're normally not used to going to. You're more likely to be injured, and plus, like I said, you're not getting as much benefit as you could be. So, like I was saying, basically, let's say it's a back exercise. You're starting with your arms all the way extended. You're going to bring them up as far as that muscle is capable of moving. As a generalization, there are some minor exceptions. And then on the way down, you're taking the muscle all the way straight. You also have what's called the positive or the power stroke part of a lift, and then what's called the negative. The power part of a lift is, I can't say it's the part where you're pushing it, because when it's the back, it's the part where you're pulling it. But it's the part where you first begin to move the weight. That's the power part. So, for example, the power part on chest is when you're pushing it off your body against gravity. The power part of your shoulder is as you first begin to press it up. The power part of your tricep is when you first start to push the weight, okay? And then the negative is when you back off, you begin to back off how hard you're pushing, and then you allow the muscle to come back on itself. The one thing you don't want to do on certain exercises, they say don't suddenly lock out the bone. If you take it all the way straight and then come to a sudden stop where you're actually suddenly jolting the bone and you're locking it out, you're putting stress on it. So the professionals recommend taking it to where it's almost completely locked out, but then just stopping a little bit shy, just a little bit. Also, when you're doing exercises, let's say you're standing up and you're doing various exercises, it's recommended that your knees just have a tiny bit of bend to them. Anytime a joint is completely locked out, you're stressing it too much. And then there's been ongoing debates with the professionals on how long do you make the power stroke part of a lift last, and how long do you make the negative last. And that could be debated all day. But I'm not going to get into exactly how long it should last, but I will say this. It's critical not to ignore the importance of the negative part of a lift. What some people tend to do is, they'll go up on the power part, and then on the negative, they're like, they don't care what's happening. They just get the weight back to them. They're just like, bring it back down. They don't focus. They don't pay attention. They're not stretching the muscles and focusing on that muscle on the negative. They're just bringing it down. Same with the back. They'll focus real hard when they're pulling up the back, and then on the way down, they just kind of let it drop. Like I said, first of all, you're asking for injury. Like I also said, second of all, you're creating a weak zone on the lift. But on the negative part, you don't want to do it super fast. You want to go against gravity and keep that tension. Here's an example. I press it up. On the negative, I come down kind of slow. I'm forcing my muscles to stay on the push. And I'm coming back kind of slow until I get to the bottom. And then a lot of professionals actually recommend a little bit of an explosion and a little bit faster on the actual power stroke. So on the way up, you would go kind of fast. And then on the negative, a lot of people go kind of slow. On the power part, you're forced to push the entire weight, if this makes any sense. On the negative, you're not pushing the entire weight. You're steadily backing off of the entire weight. So you're steadily backing off and pushing less and less and less until it gets back to the starting point. So, like I said, don't just drop it back to the starting point, but keep resistance the whole time. And you'll find if you make sure you focus and pay attention on the negatives on all your lifts, you will see gains faster. You'll be more efficient. And keep the full range of motion so that, like I said, you don't create a weak zone. You get used to doing those half, 3/4 reps, and you're creating a weak zone in your muscle where it can't perform the lift very well once you go past that. And you're going to carry that throughout your weightlifting career. If you're one of those people who are a beginner and you've been doing range of motions that are not a full range of motion, I would recommend, obviously, going to a full range of motion, but it's going to appear like you're weaker now. Let's say if you were squatting and you were used to going 60% of the range and not all the way down to parallel. Let's say if you were squatting and you were doing it with 200 pounds. Now, when you do the full range of motion, you're not going to be able to do it at 200 pounds because you got that weak area that you weren't used to hitting. So you may have to do 80 to 90% of the weight you were doing. So instead of doing 200, drop it down to about 170, 180 and do the full range of motion. And you'll find relatively quickly, if you start doing it right and doing the full range of motion, you'll find out relatively quickly that the amount of weight that you were pushing when you were doing it wrong, it'll climb back up to that point, and it won't take long at all, and you'll be much better off for it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on it. That's just basically it. Get a full range of motion. Watch videos if you have to on a specific exercise so you can see what that entails. Like I said, there's rare exceptions to the rules. Like on a tricep push down, you don't want to come all the way up until they're practically in your eyes. You're going to put more stress on your elbow. So on that, they recommend extending all the way down. And then on the way up, you come just a little bit past halfway, but not as far as you could possibly fold it. So there are occasional exceptions to the rule, and it comes with experience. But anyway, yeah, so pay attention to all that. Thanks for watching the videos. Click the subscribe button. This is Eagle Al. Have a good one.